We are here at SEMA Central. I'm Kevin Ostie at the 2017 SEMA show in Las Vegas, being joined by one of the latest SEMA Hall of Fame inductees, Miss Gigi Carleton. Gigi, it's a pleasure to meet you in person. We have a connection of a same company we worked at for a while, but I was a little bit after you, but I've heard many, many stories, and it's fun to think that you have had a front row seat to the development of this industry for so many years.
That's true. I started at Peterson Publishing Company in 1964. The first SEMA show was in 1967 at Dodger Stadium, and actually it was in January. It was extremely cold because there's a big ramp that runs around by the press box, and that is where we put our 99 booths that we had and 75 exhibitors who all paid $125 for a 10 by 10 booth. Some people bought 2 booths, so that was a big deal, because in those days there had never been a show like this, really. And so I was the gal that did the credentials, put up the stanchions, took all the complaints, and some of the congratulatory messages. But I was the one who just handled a lot of it, along with Alex Exidius and Dick Wells, who were really the ones who sold the booze. And we just didn't know how this was going to happen. And I'll never forget it. Here we are up at Dodger Stadium, freezing to death, and we looked out onto the big parking lot they have there, and all of a sudden that parking lot was full of cars, and we knew right then and there we had a hit.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, that must have been very exciting at that point.
Well, in those days it was actually a little bit of a multi-million-dollar industry. It wasn't what it is today, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So in the last 50 years, it's grown from just a few million-dollar industry to this huge billion-dollar industry. And I'm very proud to have been part of it, actually. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, absolutely. It's a tremendous industry to work in.
Oh, yes.
The people are fun. They love what they do. After your involvement with the first SEMA show, you got involved with many, many events and this show for quite a number of years.
Oh, yes. After the first show at Dodger Stadium, we realized that was not the place to be. And Anaheim Convention Center was just opening up. They were just finished completing it. So immediately, Ray Brock and Dick Day got on the phone, and we booked the space at the Anaheim Convention Center. And then we had the show there, I believe, for about 5 years. And then they moved to Vegas. And the big concern at that time, maybe you've heard this story, is, oh my God, we shouldn't move it to Vegas because all of the people that come who are our customers are all going to gamble their money away. And we won't have any orders. And so anyway, that didn't happen. Yeah. And Vegas has become the go-to place for SEMA. And it's amazing, I could hardly get through the crowds today trying to get here to do this interview. It's just packed.
It's unbelievable.
And then the outdoor exhibits too, and the cars that are shown as you walk through the lobby here, just phenomenal. I mean, I can't explain how I feel about this. You can't do this show like I used to walk it, you know. Now, today, I can't do it. It's so big.
Well, I'm very excited for you and happy for the fact that SEMA has recognized that this is partly to do in a big way to your efforts back then. You know, you have had a tremendous amount to do with what's happening today, even though you're not necessarily working here today.
No, I'm not working here today, but I must say that Bob Peterson had a lot of foresight, along with a lot of his editorial and publishing staff. If it hadn't been for Mr. Peterson, by the way, at the time back in the 60s when it was recognized by some of the charter members of SEMA, like Iskandarian and Paul Schieffer and Vic Edelbrock, to name a few, they needed to have some sort of a trade show or an organization, not necessarily a trade show, but an organization to promote their the specialty equipment that they were producing for the high-performance vehicles. And Bob Peterson, fortunately, had made a lot of money. He was known as a multi-millionaire, which was a very big deal in the 60s. And so, because of his magazine empire and being able to write editorials about these products that this specialty equipment manufacturing group was doing, he promoted a lot of this. He also gave a lot of money to SEMA to help get a lobbyist in Washington, D.C., which they needed badly, because Congress was thinking about, well, we ought to put a lid on, you know, these high-performance cars and speed and all that sort of thing. So it was because of Mr. Peterson, I think, well, I know,
Yeah.
that the SEMA grew, but he also promoted it in all of our magazines. And I think because of our readership, it became what it is today.
Absolutely. His vision is to credit for thousands of us to have careers in this industry.
Yes, that's true. I can't tell you how many people felt that working at Peterson Publishing Company was their dream, because they had been reading Hot Rod magazine since they were young teenagers.
Yep.
And to move to California and get a job at our company was pretty exciting for them. And a couple of people that Kevin and I know, they always said, if I hadn't worked at Peterson and had the great job that I did, I wouldn't have been able to raise a family, send my kids to college, own this home. And I can't tell you how many people have thanked me. And when Mr. Peterson was alive, they thanked him too.
Absolutely, and it was very well deserved. Gigi, I'm going to say it myself. Thank you for everything you've done. We appreciate it, and congratulations on the Hall of Fame. I couldn't think of a more deserving person. Another example of a shining personality here in the SEMA organization at the 2017 SEMA show in Las Vegas.